When Quando Rondo finally broke his silence on Lil Durk's recent arrest, let's just say he isn't holding back. Ever since Durk got hit with those charges, rumors have been flying about a setup, a betrayal, and revenge plots that shook up the rap game. Folks thought Quando would stay quiet after all. Durk's arrest is linked to a whole lot of drama involving Quando and his circle, but now with Durk sitting in jail, Quando is speaking out, and his words hint at a story way deeper than anyone guessed. Forgives Lil Durk. Lil Durk is Grammy-winning Chicago rapper and leader of Only the Family, OTF, got scooped up by the feds at Miami International Airport on charges of conspiracy to commit murder for hire. The story goes that Durk, along with 5 other OTF members, allegedly plotted to kill a rival rapper, and that's exactly what happened back in August 2022 outside a gas station by Beverly Center in Los Angeles. When the shots rang out, it was Q's cousin, Lul PAB, who got hit. PAB lost his life that night just days before he was set to face his own RICO charges in Georgia for almost 2 years when Rondo had to carry the weight of losing his cousin in a brutal unsolved attack. But now that Durk's facing charges, Q's reaction shocked the entire rap world. Instead of dishing out vengeance or flexing on his longtime rival, Quando took a route nobody expected. He preached forgiveness while promoting his new single, Life Goes On. Over the weekend, Quando posted a heartfelt message on Instagram. "We didn't get into this music industry to make it just to stay caught up in the streets," he wrote. "We all have families and communities counting on us. It's time to leave all that behind," in a move that had people scratching their heads. Quando continued, "We've already lost so much, and it's heavy on my heart to forgive anyone I had issues with in the past. It's all love from me, praying for everyone." Quo's message was definitely a curveball. Some fans were here for it, applauding him for his positivity and growth in a culture where too many young lives have been cut short. Over rap feuds, people respected his call for unity. After all, Quando is only 23, and to be dealing with this kind of trauma at such a young age, losing close friends and family, it's bound to change a person. He knows that the same streets he came up in could end up taking him out too, but like anything in this game, Quando's forgiveness tour wasn't without its critics. While some people praised the growth, others weren't feeling the way he tied his cousin's tragic death to new music. Some folks straight up accused him of using LPB's death and Durk's arrest to promote Life Goes On and On. On the flip side, a bunch of commenters shouted out "Free Durk" in support of the Chicago rapper despite the accusations against him. It was clear the rap world was split on how to take Q's message. Let's break down the gravity of Lil Durk's situation. The feds aren't playing around. According to court RT documents, Durk and 5 other members of OTF, all of whom are from Chicago and nearby cities, are looking at serious charges, including conspiracy to commit murder for hire. Allegedly, Durk tried to escape the country right before his arrest, booking multiple international flights in a last-ditch effort to dodge the law, but he didn't get far. The FBI grabbed him right at Miami International. US Attorney Martin Estrada didn't hold back either, calling Durk the orchestrator of a cold-blooded murder that put innocent lives at risk. Mr. Banks is charged with orchestrating a cold-blooded murder that resulted in the death of a rival's family member. Estrada said not only that the shooting occurred in the open at a gas station at a busy intersection, endangering many others in the area. Lil Durk appeared in court in Miami, but will be transferred to LA, where he's looking at an intense trial. The stakes couldn't be higher. If found guilty, he's facing years behind bars, if not life. Just days after Durk's arrest, Quando dropped Life Goes On, which fans are saying might be more than just a new track in this emotional record. Quando pours his heart out, paying homage to his cousin and all the people he's lost. Along the way, his lyrics paint a vivid picture of the pain and scars he's been left with, and the song comes with a cinematic music video that really struck a chord with fans. People started wondering if Quando planned to drop the track all along or if Durk's arrest sped things up. Either way, the timing is crazy, and fans feel like Life Goes On could be Q's way of closing a dark chapter in his life, and considering the public shift he's trying to make towards peace and forgiveness, it might just be the public she's start of a new era for him in a genre where rivalries are almost a rite of passage. Q's approach feels refreshing, especially after so much loss. Watching someone who was once knee-deep in street politics take a step back is rare, but Quando seems dead serious. His lyrics about setting down his flag and picking up the Quran reflect a growing number of rappers who are tired of seeing their communities torn apart by violence. The same streets that made Quando a star have left him scarred, and it seems he's ready to trade in the weight of his past for a shot at peace. Some fans believe this change is genuine, while others are skeptical, thinking he might just be playing to the crowd. Nonetheless, the events of 2 years ago, when Quando almost lost his life, will remain with the rapper for quite some time. Especially with new information about the deadly planning that almost took his life inside the attempted murder of Quando Rondo. August 19, 2022 was supposed to be a regular day for T.I. and Bowman, better known as Quando Rondo, but It turned out to be anything but rolling through West Hollywood with his cousin Sava Lul PAB Robinson in a black Escalade. They were just two men from Savannah trying to live out their dream, but by the end of that day, bullets rained down, leaving LPB dead and the streets talking. Quando and LP were rolling together that day like they always did, like brothers. Lul PAB, who was 24, had his own heat coming back home in Georgia, a RICO case looming over him. He was accused of being involved in all kinds of hustling, car theft, fraud, and more. With some serious charges stacking up since 2017, the Savannah authorities went hard using RICO charges usually saved for big-time operations. This was his last stretch of freedom, one final ride before his day in court. Little did he know he wouldn't make it that far. Word on the street had been buzzing since November 2020. Timothy Leaks, also known as El Tim or Leaky, and a close friend of Quando, shot and killed Chicago rapper King Val outside an Atlanta hookah spot. It was one of those moments where the streets went cold and every whisper was louder than ever. Surveillance showed King Von stepping up on Quando Rondo, fists flying. What started as hands ended with gunfire. Q's crew claimed it was self-defense, but tried telling that to King Von's crew, especially Lil Durk and OTF Von. Only the family clicked. Lil Durk and King Von went way back. Durk had practically mentored Von, signed him, and pushed him to the top. V called him twin, and Durk called him baby bro. This bond wasn't just business, it was personal. To lose someone that close is to bleed, and Durk wasn't one to let a wound heal without retribution. Rumor had it Durk put a hit out on Quando to avenge his boy, the bounty cash and promises of clout within OTF. Durk was setting the stage, and El Po was caught in the middle. This wasn't some random shooting. According to the feds, this was planned from jump, like a scene straight out of a heist movie. The indictment paints a picture of Durk allegedly pulling strings from the shadows, orchestrating every move through his crew. The plan was airtight, with no room for mistakes in. August 2022, Durk got his people together. First up was Cav Grant, the dude assigned to secure guns, masks, and cars. He booked flights, got everyone to LA, and made sure each member had their role. DeAndre, Dontrell Wilson, Keith Jones, David Bryan, Lindsay, and Asa Houston, all Durk's loyalists, were his foot soldiers, ready to do whatever it took. They weren't just on the streets for themselves, they were repping OTF and ready to make that clear. On August 18th, they put the wheels in motion, tailing Quando from store to store. They tracked his every move from a dispensary to a clothing shop on Melrose, all without missing a beat. And by the early morning of August 19th, they had him cornered at a gas station near Beverly Boulevard. It was go time. Quando pulled up to that gas station, probably thinking it was just another day. The streets had a way of calming you even when danger was just around the corner, but in a matter of seconds, bullets flew, shattering any illusions of safety. According to court documents, Houston parked the getaway car in a nearby alley. Jones, Lindsay, and another shooter stepped out, machine guns in hand, their sights set on Quando, but it wasn't Quando who got hit, it was his cousin, Lul PAB, standing close, unaware of what was coming. The shots echoed through the night as people ducked, ran, or froze in a cruel twist of fate. Quando walked away without a scratch while his cousin took the fall. Lul PAB was pronounced dead later that night at the hospital. Immediately after the shots were fired, Durk's crew fled the scene like pros. They regrouped at a burger joint where Wilson supposedly made sure everybody was squared up with the payment. Wilson wasn't just an accomplice, he was the guy who managed the paper trail, making sure the ones who pulled the trigger got what they were promised, and just like that, they boarded flights back to Chicago, probably thinking they left everything behind, but the feds were already watching, piecing together every step they took, from plane tickets to credit card receipts. Lil Durk and his crew got hit with some heavy charges: conspiracy to commit murder for hire, using interstate means to coordinate the attack, and firearms violations for using fully automatic weapons. The evidence linking Lil Durk to the attempted hit on Quando Rondo is heavy, and it's no wonder the feds are coming at him hard. The government's case is built on several damning pieces, one of the major ones being credit card records. Every move the crew made was allegedly funded by OTF, from flights to rentals. The same credit card linked them all together, tracing every step of their trip from Chicago to LA and back. The records showed that this wasn't a spur-of-the-moment crime. It was planned, funded, and carried out with precision. Cameras from the gas station and various locations that captured the attackers as they tailed Quando, parked nearby, and opened fire. So the footage was crucial in piecing together the timing and movement of the suspects. Communications among OTF members detailing everything from the initial planning to real-time updates on Q's location. These messages reportedly included coded language about the hit, showing just how coordinated the attack was. Recent revelations from sources close to the investigation have begun to shed light on the intricate and chilling details surrounding an alleged organized attack with connections to Durk and his associates. According to reports, several individuals involved in the planning of the attack have flipped, offering key insights into the operation in exchange for reduced sentences or other leniency. These revelations provide a disturbing look at the scale of the alleged conspiracy, including the collection of weapons, the logistics of the flights, and the execution of the hit. It's said that Durk's involvement goes far beyond the mere logistical coordination. He's believed to have masterminded the attack through covert, coded communications, arranging the hit on rival rapper Quando. The sources have alleged that Durk set a bounty on Quando's head, not just offering a financial reward, but also promising an elevated status within the ranks of his crew for anyone who successfully carried out the hit. This kind of message is seen as vital to proving Durk's leadership role in what the authorities describe as a criminal organization operating under the guise of a music label. The coded messages, which were allegedly exchanged among Durk's inner circle, are now central to the investigation, with authorities working to prove that Durk was the mastermind who used his position in the music world to further his criminal agenda. The federal government has leveled an array of serious charges against Durk and his associates. The indictment, which includes everything from firearms violations to conspiracy to commit murder, has left Durk and his crew facing potentially decades of prison time. The conspiracy charges alone carry significant weight, but the additional allegations of using the music industry as a front for organized crime compound the gravity of the situation. These charges highlight the government's belief that the operations within Durk's circle go far beyond simple criminal acts. They view the crew as a well-organized crime syndicate hiding behind the facade of a successful music label. Adding to the complexity of the case is the emotional plea made by Wallo, a well-known podcast host and former inmate who reached out to Durk months before the alleged attack. Wallo, who served 20 years in prison and lost his own brother to violence, publicly urged Durk to step away from the street life. On the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, Wallo shared his personal story, recounting the pain of losing a loved one to senseless violence and the transformative power of forgiveness. He directly urged Durk to change course, warning him of the consequences for his future and those who look up to him. Wallo's heartfelt message was a plea for Durk to walk away from the chaos and violence that had defined much of his career and personal life. This is a powerful juxtaposition to the charges now facing Durk and his crew. While Wallo's message was one of hope and redemption, Durk's alleged actions paint a very different picture, one of a man who not only failed to heed that advice but also reportedly perpetuated a violent culture within his inner circle. If the authorities are successful in proving the conspiracy charges, it will show a clear link between Durk and the violent acts carried out by his associates. The case represents more than just an isolated incident. It's an attempt by law enforcement to dismantle what they consider a dangerous network masquerading as a music group. The indictment of Durk is not just a legal battle for the rapper, it's a pivotal moment in the government's ongoing efforts to target and disband criminal organizations within the entertainment industry. The stakes for Durk and his crew are incredibly high, as they face not only the risk of significant prison sentences but also the potential loss of their assets. The feds are making a concerted effort to break down what they see as a criminal empire, one that uses the music industry as a cover for far more sinister activities. In this unfolding drama, the question now is whether Durk will face the full weight of the law or if he will somehow manage to escape the consequences of his alleged actions. With Wallo's poignant plea lingering in the background, this case serves as a stark reminder of the fine line between fame and infamy and the devastating consequences that can come from crossing that line. His future, his family, and his legacy. If I hadn't let that go, I wouldn't be right here today. I won't be here for my niece and my nephews. Me and Gil won't be doing this. Why y'all won't know me? I won't be able to KY this game, but I had to leave. I had to let that go. When I let that go, I started to grow and I started to glow. He wanted Durk to see that holding on to revenge only leads one way, back to the grave or the cell. Wall's words resonate deeply now, especially as the OTF crew faces heavy charges his warning highlighted. The harsh reality of street life and the price of loyalty. Lil Durk stayed loyal to King Val, holding it down for him like a real one, even when it meant risking it all. But now that same loyalty got him locked up, and the wildest part is that one of his own OTF homies, the ones he trusted most, was the one who switched up and played him dirty. How Lil Durk was betrayed by OTF member. Lil Durk's recent indictment has blown up heavily in the street, not just for the drama, but because it's got betrayal written all over it. It was one of his own, an OTF member named Jam. It turned out to be a snitch. Straight up, this wasn't a one-time slip either. Jam had reportedly been working with the feds for years, gathering dirt on Durk and OTF while rocking with them like everything was all good. So here's what went down. Jam, who'd been doing a 12-year bid for attempted murder, came out in 2022 fresh from the pen. That's when he supposedly got tight with the authorities, wearing a hidden wire and feeding them info straight from OTF circle. He got out just around the time when Durk was allegedly plotting to take down Quando Rondo as revenge for King Von's death. Jam was sitting back and letting it all unfold, feeding intel to the feds the whole time. The story's been confirmed by other rappers too, like King Yella, who said he heard Jam implicate Durk in the hit that left Quando Rondo's cousin Lul PAB dead. Jam wasn't just any OTF dude either. This was someone Durk had known for years, and he thought Jam was down for the cause. But I heard somebody named OTF Jam, they said they've been calling him a rat. Basically, he said, okay, I'm a rat. Well, watch this. All this information that I know are this I MMA tell this, I MMA tell that. Turns out Jam was just gathering evidence, keeping tabs on every Y move. Durk made Durk's crew OTF, only the family has always rolled like a tight unit. They've got history, been through thick and thin, and the whole squad was supposed to be loyal. OTF came up out of Chicago with Durk, putting them on the map and pushing them forward even. When things got hot, they're not just a rap crew, they're tied up with street affiliations, especially the Black Disciples. When you come up like that, loyalty is everything, but for Jam, that loyalty didn't mean squat. After getting out of prison, Jam was out here living life off Durk's support and even got some cash and wheels from him, but as DJ Vlad and Wack 100 discussed in a recent interview, the tables turned real quick. According to Vlad, Jam had been repping like he was solid, talking about how he'd kept it real all those years inside, but the second he was free, he switched sides, playing both ends to his advantage. The evidence Jam gathered was a big part of the case that landed Durk in cuffs. The feds claimed that Durk had put out a hit on Quando Rondo, calling it revenge for King Von's murder. Jam was the one who supposedly fed them the details of the coded language Durk used, the money moving through OTF's accounts to fund the hit, and how Durk told the hitters to avoid using real names for flights or rentals. The feds have been building this case for a minute, and they had enough evidence to paint a picture of the whole setup. OTF used credit cards linked to the crew to book flights for the shooters, all moving from Chicago to California just to catch Quando slipping. Jam was allegedly right there relaying all the details to the authorities, and when the heat finally dropped, they had receipts, texts, and enough inside info to make sure Durk couldn't slip away. Jam wasn't just spilling general info, he was giving the feds a play-by-play he knew about the ski masks, the automatic weapons, and the rental cars. The feds say he gave them the layout of how Durk's team was tracking Quando around Los Angeles all the way to the gas station where the ambush went down. They even had real-time info on where Quando was with the OTF crew, following him from a dispensary to a clothing store and eventually to the gas station. Jam's intel put the feds right in the middle of the action. He supposedly gave them all the nitty-gritty on Durk's coded language, telling them that Durk wasn't just venting, he was handing out orders. With Jam as their inside man, the feds were able to document everything from the prep work to the hit itself. Wack 100, who never holds back, had a lot to say about this betrayal. He pointed out how Jam did his time, came out acting like he was loyal, and even bragged in interviews about keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? He said, Jam, get out that Jam and give him 50. He ain't got to ask again, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? He ain't got to ask, bro. He said he gave. You are 50, bro. You know, say fact. Jam made it sound like he was solid, that Durk had looked out for him with cars and cash, but at some point Wack said Jam flipped, taking everything Durk had given him and turning it into fuel for the feds' case. DJ Vlad and Wack 100 also talked about how Jam's release from prison lined up almost exactly with Lul PAB's murder. They both suggested that Jam might have started working with the FBI the second he got out. That timing alone says a lot. Jam wasn't out here by coincidence. He was in the mix for a reason. By being that close, he could play both sides, rocking with Durk while stacking up evidence to use against him. According to the indictment, the feds are calling OTF a hybrid organization, not just a record label. They're saying it's part rap crew, part criminal outfit operating under the guise of music, and thanks to Jam, they've got inside info that paints Durk as the mastermind, with OTF not only pushing music but also plotting violence. Jam's role in the operation was pivotal. He provided the kind of details that only someone on the inside would know. This wasn't just about tracking Quando or getting revenge for King Val. This was a carefully orchestrated setup, from the money moves to the logistics, and with Jam's help, the feds got the whole operation on record. Mapping out who was responsible for what and how the plan came together, it's hard to say what's going through Durk's mind now that he knows he's been betrayed by one of his own. This wasn't just any OTF member. This